Hello everyone, 76 Patriot here, and today I'm going to be discussing the much talked about Maryland Senate race and whether or not we should be putting a lot of effort, energy and resources into this race or not. And it's actually kind of coincidental. As I was preparing this video, Trump actually endorsed Larry Hogan. This is not a joke, this is entirely legit. And I will of course dive into this deeper in just a few moments, but quick, you know, I think I need to mention some of the fundamentals of Maryland itself. So Maryland, let's get that out of the way. Maryland is one of the most democratic states in the nation, up there with Vermont and even to the left of California. Massachusetts, it's up there. It was one of Biden's strongest states in 2020, particularly due to these crazy margins in some of these. Look at that. He's winning these counties by 90, and these are not small. These are major metro areas outside of the swamp, DC, Baltimore. So it would take a heck of a lot for a Republican to win on any level. And that's why they haven't had a Republican senator in about 40 years. Now, some people think that Larry Hogan is the guy that may be able to pull this Senate race off in 2024 election. Now, who is Larry Hogan? So first of all, I haven't really pulled up any meaningful articles about him, but basically Larry Hogan has a two-term governor, former governor. He is the textbook definition, in my opinion, of a rhino. He has distanced himself from the conservative movement, from the MAGA movement very strongly, and so I'm not a fan of him or his ideologies. However, he has, when he entered this race, due to his pretty popular standing in Maryland politics, if you look at the polls here, Hogan versus Alsobrooks. Alsobrooks is the Democratic nominee, of course, that recently won her primary. He's up there by 6. That's partially due to these crazy, wacky polls, though. Look at that. Hogan up by 18, by 14. This is Maryland, guys, so that's crazy. Alsobrooks by 10. I could see that for sure. But so that's a bit deceptive, in my opinion. Hogan leading by 6 in the aggregate. But as of right now, technically polls look good for him. The thing is, let's see how he won, really. Well, first, I actually should mention this race was on nobody's radar at all. It's an automatic Democratic win. Incumbents retiring, no surprises there. Business as usual until Hogan said he'd enter the race. That kind of made everyone go, "Oh, we actually have a chance to win it because we have this, electoral juggernaut, that has won this deep blue state before running." So that's why some people are wondering, could it be a sleeper flip? I'm sure some of you guys may know that already. I'm just wanting to give a quick breakdown there. So if we go back to 2014, when Hogan first ran, he actually won as a moderate. He was able to win narrowly. And if I remember correctly, it was kind of a surprise victory for such a deep blue state. He won by 3 points. And then again wrong page, sorry about that. Again in 2018 by 11. And this is a governorship, of course, so that's different. It's a federal race, obviously. If you look at these maps, he's doing way better in a lot of these counties and trimming Democratic margins, outright winning blue counties. Heck, look at that. But back to, Maryland is a Democratic state, and in an election, Hogan won in off-year elections on a statewide race. A lot of states do split tickets. Not as much anymore. But somebody will vote for Republican, then vote for the Democrat. The problem is, this is a federal race, and I do not see a ton of people that will vote for Joe Biden and Larry Hogan. There absolutely will be some. I don't think any of us should doubt that. But the amount to get him over the line in a state that voted for Biden for president by 65% would have to be insane. And particularly now, due to Trump endorsing him, so as promised, coming back to this article, and this was kind of a shocker, honestly, today. Maybe I was dumb, maybe I just should have seen it coming, but this is a guy who, right here, he's one of former president's fiercest critics in the GOP. And Trump, actually came out and said, "I'd like to see him win. I think he has a good chance to win." And I think a lot of this is more strategic than it may look. because I don't think that Trump actually likes Hogan all of a sudden when Hogan has sharply critiqued Trump and the America First movement and distanced himself as far as physically possible from the MAGA movement. I think, and this is just in my small brain, but I think that Trump realizes he would like to have a Republican Senate majority if he's elected. And one of the ways that's possible, one of the paths that that's possible, is to have Hogan win Maryland's an extra seat. And this is a guy who, right here, was pretty mum about the Trump conviction. It was actually, could care two rips about what happens to Trump, essentially. The public should respect the verdict and the legal process. And it's kind of hysterical because, I hate to be on CNN, this was just an article that came up. Lara Trump actually came out, this was literally on June 2nd, and slammed him, according to this article, said he doesn't deserve the respect of any Republican. Literally a week later, Trump endorsed him. I'm not knocking Trump at all. I'm just saying I think there's more strategy here than meets the eye from Trump's perspective. The problem is, will this hurt Hogan? The Trump endorsement, because Maryland is not a pro-Trump state by any means. Will this help Hogan? Because I don't know how many Republicans are going to come home for him at the end of the day. And in order to win in Maryland, you need every single Republican on board. You need, to win independents, you need to win over a heck of a lot of Democrats. And I think that may be a Herculean task in a presidential year with Biden on the ballot. If it was a midterm year, I could say possibly. I mean, even then, it wouldn't be likely. I don't know. Can Larry Hogan do it? Honestly, do we really care? Because the problem is he'll get there and he'll be the biggest rhino. I mean, heck, he'll be worse than Mitt Romney probably. So now we can argue, and I would have to agree. Would you rather have him than a far left progressive Democrat? Would you rather have somebody that at least now and then may vote, fairly reasonable on an issue or two, versus somebody who is guaranteed to not ever? And I would say, yeah, of course. But should our focus be on this race where he's probably going to lose? He'll end up trimming the margins a fair bit. Actually, let's go to the Senate race rather than presidential. Yeah, look at that. Hogan may be able to get it down to, at best, and this would be an overperformance, huge, but 55, 45, and that's crazy. That's a 25%, not quite 20% overperformance from 2022. I don't even know if that's possible, let alone to actually win, So I'm sure Turtle, McConnell, and, wants his Rhino boy in the Senate. I'm sure that, he's going to devote a lot of resources to this state. But that's dumb, in my opinion. So this is the verdict, basically. And before I get too long-winded in this video, we should not be dedicating resources to a safe blue state. We should be allocating them as strategically as possible to states like, obviously this is an old map I'm using, but, for the sake of time, just states like, Georgia doesn't have a Senate race. Why, I should be using a different map. Let's do the 2020. Yeah, there we go. So, 2018. I'm really distracted. There it goes. This is the Senate map, of course, but 6 years ago. We should be dedicating resources to, Montana, to Arizona as a Senate race, to, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, of course. Ohio and Montana should be the biggest priorities, in my opinion. And we do not need to be spending money in a safe blue state. Now, if Hogan wins, sure, that's an extra Republican, extra Rhino, that's cool. Some extra kind of pocket change there, unexpectedly. But I don't think we should be divesting precious resources and money into this race. So that's my opinion, guys, on that. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But there's some interesting stuff going on this election year. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.